Hello everybody and welcome to a video that I think is very important to everyone, not only gamers. And the topic that we'll be talking about is the case of Apple submitting to the government's request to look through the iPhone. So most people do have phones and stuff like that, but the reason why this is important in the realm of gaming is even though that government spying onto gaming networks is not an original idea, just the whole idea of monitoring, ideally it's not a bad thing, but when you consider what's happened in the past and what theoretically would happen throughout history, whenever we see some sort of society that is heavily monitored, Nazis, they encourage people to spy and tell on each other that were not particularly to the Nazi ideals. I know in Iraq and Afghanistan, people were encouraged to rat out other people that were part of Taliban and stuff like that. But the ideas of them are not bad in the idea, but thing is, over time, that idea becomes perverted. It becomes changed in such a way that people can't do what they need to do what they want to do, because eventually one administration might, add this to have this as their policy, and then another administration might come on later on and abuse that and use it for malicious intents to censorship. Everybody can agree censorship is bad. Freedom of speech is really important in a democracy or any society that is successful, because that criticism of our government, of other people, of media, the criticism of the media itself is really important. That needs to be done because it makes things better. It makes society a better place. Since the invention of widespread media, think about all the things that have been changed. It's the way that the speed at which things move and innovations are made, because not only because of innovations such as like quantum computing and stuff like that, but there's definitely an impact that the media has on topics such as government policies. And it's a thing that's kind of worrying when you see there's a lot of analysts that are saying that Donald Trump is going to censor reporters, which is very scary. It's like what a lot of people would equate that to 1984 or any dystopian novel where there's a communist or socialist party rule, the dictator. But I would have to say that I really hope that it doesn't really come to this. So back towards the gaming side, what can we do about this? That's the question. Well, the thing is that we have to say, hey, to Apple, we support you, and write to senators and stuff like that, make it clear that intruding on our private property is not okay. Because essentially what's gonna happen is, as Edward Snowden says, the guy who is probably the most knowledgeable that is outside the government of the NSA's and the government's practices of surveillance, because of the leaks, and he stole a bunch of information from the NSA. Apparently he's read all of them. From what he says is that the idea that the FBI can't get into that phone is a bunch of baloney, because they have the resources to do that. It seems that he didn't really elaborate on it, but a conclusion that one would make from that is that it seems that the government is just trying to get legal precedent to do so that in the future, if the Supreme Court or any of the federal courts say that, hey, yeah, you have to give up your information, now the NSA could do that to any phone, because apparently they have a bunch of phones they would like to go through. They just want it to be legal so they don't get in any trouble. And there is a contingent that is like, okay, if you're not doing anything wrong, why is there a problem? But a lot of philosophers would say that if civil liberties is the foundation of any society, when people are monitored for no reason, people are gonna lose their personalities. They're not the same. They're gonna censor themselves more. Criticism is gonna be stifled. Innovation is gonna be stifled, and people aren't going to do the same things that they used to. Not that changing ideals or habits are bad. Changing habits can be good, but this is a change in the negative side. This is not what people need to be doing. Also, additionally, there does seem to be some issues with what Apple's saying. You might not believe what they're saying, that they can't access the phone themselves without making a backdoor. Maybe not, just gotta take them for their words, because they do have an incentive to keep the government out, because they want to keep clients. They want to keep people to keep using their phones, because if they're seen to be complicit with the government, then they're gonna lose clients that they use their phone because it's secure and they want to do their business on their phone. You know, certain professionals and stuff like that. Not necessarily bad people, but it's just be seen as a less secure device if they're seen working with the government. I'm not an Apple fan myself. I own a lot of Samsung devices. Just turns out that I have a Samsung phone, I have a Samsung tablet, I have a Samsung TV. I use Android on a regular basis. I use Windows, but I think this is probably a monumentous event because more and more of our information goes onto these devices. The impact of surveillance on that device becomes bigger and bigger, and you don't want that to happen. I hope you guys like this video. Hope it gets some ideas going. Hope people start thinking about what surveillance means, especially in any industry for all of us as people. Hopefully Apple pulls through and gets the ability to say no to the government. They've been going back and forth with citing different legal precedents, and it seems like this could actually be a case that goes to the Supreme Court. Maybe not, who knows. But anyways, hope you guys like this video. Like this video if you really do. Continue discussions. I want to know what you guys think about this topic, and if you do, subscribe for more videos like this, discussions, ideas of anything, and goodbye.